Hello, my name is Monique Nowlin, and today I'll be your guest host for this episode of Our Ventura TV. Today in studio we have a special guest, Marcy Snider, Program Manager with the Adult Protective Services Unit of the Human Services Agency with the County of Ventura. Marcy, thank you for your time today.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Monique.
So Marcy's here to educate us about Adult Protective Services, or APS, and what services they provide to the public.
Sure. Adult Protective Services investigates elder and dependent adult abuse and neglect. So we investigate physical abuse, sexual abuse. It could be neglect by another person. They're not providing the proper care. Financial abuse is highly reported to us. We also investigate abduction, isolation, abandonment, emotional abuse, and we also investigate self-neglect, folks that aren't taking care of themselves anymore.
Okay, and can you tell us what the difference is between a dependent adult and how does that adult differ from an adult with disabilities?
Yeah, good question. We serve elders who are 65 and older, but we also serve dependent adults who are 18 to 64. They might have a mental health disability, a physical disability, or a developmental disability that really prevents them from protecting themselves and their assets, and therein lies the difference. We've worked with many people that have had disabilities in their lives, but sometimes those are the best advocates we have in the community. We're really looking for someone who doesn't necessarily have the ability to protect themselves. They don't know who to call, who to reach out to, or what they can do to protect their finances.
And speaking of that, what are some of the warning signs of adult abuse that we should watch for in our family or in our own community?
Absolutely. Well, when it comes to abuse by other, financial abuse is such a huge problem. You're really looking at people that all of a sudden have others living with them, new purchases, new cars in the driveway, or they get utility shut-off notices. Maybe they're getting credit cards in the mail that they didn't apply for, that type of thing. They're involved themselves in scams such as fees for prizes or foreign lotteries, so they're going to the grocery store to wire money through the Western Union, or maybe they're buying the iPhone cards. iTunes cards right now are very popular, gift cards to pay for that. Or when it comes to self-neglect, you're really looking at someone who's just not taking care of themselves anymore. They used to be very meticulous in their person, and now when you see them, they're unwashed, they're wearing the same outfit with food stains and whatnot, so they may be needing some help in their home.
And if I suspect that there's self-neglect or some abuse going on, what can I as a concerned citizen or a family member do? What steps do I engage in?
I would encourage everyone to contact our adult abuse hotline, which is a 24-hour hotline, and it's area code 805-654-3200. They'll take a referral. The person who's making the report is not disclosed to the client, so when we get a report and a social worker is assigned to go out to see that person, we don't disclose that information. And we're really trying to just assist the person, to link them to services in their own home, to keep them safe and to basically eliminate or reduce their protective issue.
And if I, as a concerned citizen, or if I have a loved one, if I want the person removed from their home, as adults, does APS have the rights, like CPS I've heard, can take children from the home? Can you remove an adult from their home?
That's another excellent question. We're a voluntary program. Mm-hmm. So the only legal authority the state of California gives us is to see that person face to face. We're not allowed to remove people from their home. They have the same rights essentially as you and I. They can allow people in their home or not. If they want to live in a particular situation, they have the right to do so. The only exception to that is if they lacked cognitive capacity, in which case we're looking for other avenues to see how we can help them. They might need to go to the hospital. We will call 911, but no, we do not have the authority like Child Protective Services to remove anybody from the home.
And speaking of calling 911, do you ever interact with the police department, and if so, in what instances?
By law, when Adult Protective Services goes out to the home and we uncover any kind of reasonable suspicion that a crime's occurring, we're obligated by law to cross-report to law enforcement. So they're one of our biggest partners in the community. We let them know what's occurring, we give them the information, and then they can take a criminal report and further an investigation to give to the district attorney's office for prosecution.
Okay, and for our edification, can you walk us through what would happen if I were to call or you were to receive a report of abuse? So I make the call, you receive the report, what happens?
Well, we take a look at the report to see, is there imminent danger to the elder or dependent adult? If that's the case, we see them within 2 hours. If not, the state says we have 10 calendar days to see those folks. In this county, we're seeing them in approximately 5 days. We'd like to see them sooner rather than later. We go out to the home, typically unannounced, and we introduce ourselves, let them know that we're from the County of Ventura Adult Services, and really we're there to link them services to keep them safe in their own home. The state says we'd like to have you go in and do this biopsychosocial assessment, link people to services, but we also want to remove you from the situation as well, so we're closing our cases usually within 60, 90 days typically.
Okay.
But having said that, if we have a confirmed type of abuse, we're able to eliminate or reduce it 76% of the time, so it is an effective program.
And I know people fear getting involved, especially if it's not a loved one, if it's a neighbor, and you had spoken earlier of that the person isn't revealed, the source isn't revealed.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit more about that? And do I have 100% protection if I call on my neighbor that I'm concerned about with the senior down the street?
Absolutely. There's two types of reporting parties. One is mandated by law, in which case you can't be anonymous. You have to give your contact information. That would be someone like you or in the Area Agency on Aging. But we still do not disclose that information. By law, the only two individuals allowed to have that are law enforcement and the DA's office, and that's for their investigation. Otherwise, only the courts can release that information. If it's a friend or a neighbor, you are allowed to remain anonymous, and you don't have to give your contact information. We'd prefer you did in case we had follow-up questions or if we couldn't find the individual, but absolutely that information is confidential. We would not disclose it.
Question. So if you are involved, APS comes out, makes a report, the senior is self-neglecting, you've determined that there's no other steps that can be taken, what can I as a concerned citizen do at that point, or a loved one? What are my avenues that I can travel at that point?
Well, you want to be as supportive as possible to the individual with whatever challenges they're experiencing. A lot of times people are afraid to reach out to receive help or allow strangers in their home. Scams are a real problem right now, so everybody needs to be cautious and aware of that. But also keep reporting it, because sometimes it takes us multiple times to go out before someone trusts us enough to assist them. So keep making the referral as best you can. It may appear frustrating since it's a voluntary program and the person may not want to accept services, but we would encourage people to continue to report.
So am I hearing that correctly? We can report more than once?
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
And encourage that. So tell me, if there's one vital piece of information you would like the viewers to know, what would it be?
One of the things that has really risen is this financial abuse. I want everyone to be aware, young or old, disabled or not, about the scams that are occurring. The fees for prizes, if you've won something, you have to give some money. That's a scam. The romance scams that are out there now, the grandparent scam, somebody pretending to be your grandchild and wanting some money because they're in trouble. The foreign lotteries, it's always a scam, the foreign lotteries. And also really trying to protect your assets when not necessarily putting family members on bank accounts. And because once you add somebody onto your bank account, you give them free reign to the money in that account. It's really important to protect your assets as best you can, because they'll be needed in the future.
Very good. What's the best way to contact APS? I know you gave a phone number earlier, and that leads me to the question, really, is it a 24-hour service? What if I have concerns in the middle of the night, or I see something, awry at 1 a.m.? What can I do?
Sure. The hotline is a 24-hour hotline, so you can report. Again, it's 805-654-3200. We are a 24/7 program. Have a social worker on call after hours, and you call the hotline if you notice something like that, and they'll get a hold of law enforcement or they'll get a hold of us. Typically, the only way to get a hold of us after hours is through law enforcement, because our legal ability to do anything is limited unless it's through law enforcement. But I would encourage people to always call that hotline to make a referral anytime.
And what if I just have general questions? Can I go to a website? Can I come to your office?
Sure. You can certainly come to the office. We're located off of 1001 Partridge. You can also go on to the Human Services Agency website. There's all sorts of information on adult protective services. We also have a general information line that's answered by a social worker Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And they'll answer general questions. And that's 805-658-4500.
So if I'm just a concerned citizen, or I just have some questions, but I don't necessarily want to make a report, that would be the number that I would call.
Let me correct that. It's 658-4450. Sorry, 4450.
And anybody can call that just with general questions. But if I want to file a report, what number is that again?
That's the 654-3200 number.
Very good. Well, we're just about out of time, Marcy. Is there a way besides the website, besides the office, or those numbers we can contact you? Are those the 3 best ways?
Yes, those are the 3 best ways. And I'd like everybody to know, too, that if they'd like some information for their particular group or their company they work with, a nonprofit, profit, whatever, be happy to come out and speak to them. This is the only way we're really able to combat elder abuse, elder and dependent adult abuse, is to educate folks how to protect themselves. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Well, we appreciate hearing about this topic. It's a very timely topic. It's a very important topic to our citizens out in Ventura. So I'd like to thank Marcy for speaking with us. My name is Monique Nowlin, and until we get together again, thanks for watching Our Ventura TV.